tourism industry is exploding. The business went down during COVID, but we have come back with a vengeance. Today, my guest at BW Healthcare World is someone who's a three times entrepreneur with two exits, one to Flipkart and the other one to Paytm. He built India's first $100 million fashion e-commerce platform, worked with Paytm during demonetization, and then quit to start a business in medical tourism he calls Health Trip. My guest is none other than Danish Ahmed. So, welcome Danish to BW Healthcare World.
Thank
You
you.
you have been into e-commerce and you did really well in it. You already had two exits. Uh, why medical tourism?
Yeah, that's a question I get a lot. So my first two startups, Harbinder, were both in the e-commerce space, yebi.com and then ShopCity, and then with Paytm. But really, when you are selling clothes and fashion products, you're not impacting lives in a very positive manner. So that was missing, and I wanted to do something with impact, something that makes me feel that I've done something good for the world. And when I came across this opportunity, I saw the best of both the worlds. People are coming for treatments to India, opportunity for us to make a name for the country by giving them the right service, opportunity to get their blessings by helping them in the time of their need, and at the same time creating a business which is very viable and profitable and scalable. So it had all the components that I wanted to bring in to my next venture, and that's why I jumped into a very new field. You're right. I was not in healthcare at all, and then last 4 years have been a lot of learning for me as a individual myself.
So, Danish, obviously you saw an opportunity, but how big is the opportunity for medical tourism in our country?
I think the real numbers are difficult to get. The published numbers are about $6 billion. This includes about $2 billion of medical tourism, $2 billion of Ayurvedic tourism, and about $2 billion is about travel tours. Those are my calculations. And globally, this is estimated to be about $400 billion industry as wellness tourism, of which $80 billion is just medical tourism. So very, very large opportunity. There are 15 million people who are traveling for very various treatments every year. Surprising, there is no large global player solving this issue.
So, Danish, you just mentioned that there's a segment which is pure play healthcare within this number that you just shared, and then there is travel and tourism, and then there is Ayurveda. So, what are the current dynamics of the medical tourism industry in India? And also, please share your thoughts on what are the challenges as well as the opportunities that exist.
So we have various corridors that are plugging into India. In terms of medical tourism, about half the number of patients that we get are from just Bangladesh, and then we get a very large number of patients from Iraq, Maldives, Oman, all the CIS countries. Now even Kazakhstan has started coming to India. Russians are coming to India, and then you have people coming from Myanmar, as far as Fiji on this side, and as far as Seychelles and other countries from the African continent. And Ayurvedic treatments are usually demanded by patients from GCC countries, so Bahrain, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia. Then you've got Europeans and Russians coming for those treatments, and then the remaining $2 billion is the flight tickets, the hotels, accommodation, etc. piece that these people also spend while they are in India.
So, what are some of the challenges that the industry is facing?
As an industry, I think we are competing with Turkey and Thailand primarily, and both these countries are their visa norms are very easy. It's extremely easy for a Nigerian to discover that he requires a treatment, and by the evening he's on a flight to Turkey or Thailand. While getting a visa to India takes as many as 2 months. Minimum a month in some of these main countries like Bangladesh, Uzbekistan as well. So getting a visa, and then forex norms here. For example, in Turkey, you could transfer funds to a medical travel facilitator and then decide which hospital you want to go to, and then do that. In India, you have to carry that cash and keep it with yourself until you've taken a decision which hospital you want to get a treatment at. So there are various elements that are still to be replicated in India. Other countries are doing that, and we are missing out on the opportunity. Turkey has really taken over the market share. They are at least 2 times larger than what we are today. So we need to really bring on these norms quickly, and that is what hopefully this Heal in India mission will help us quickly expedite getting these right policies in place, so that patients find it convenient to come to the favorite country for medical treatments. Even despite the people are coming to India only because the quality of healthcare is so good. It may be easier to get a visa for another country, but our healthcare is phenomenally good. And if we are able to solve the remaining problems, for sure, we'll be able to capture back a large portion of these patients.
Got it. Got it. Now, a lot of this medical tourism business depends on the government policies. What is it that the government is doing to enhance the medical tourism industry, both domestic as well as what are they doing in the country, and what is it that they're doing internationally?
So earlier, say pre-COVID, we had a very easy e-visa norm that was prevalent, and that was really helping patients come in. In the morning, patients would send the reports. By the evening, they would have a visa invite, and the next day they could get a visa and come to India. That needs to come back quickly. At the airport, we need centers where patients could be received and their queries could be answered. We need a website with a grievance model where the patients can discover the right solutions and find the right feedback mechanisms for the government. We need a proper policy for these people who are coming with thousands of dollars in hand, which is very risky. A lot of times that money gets stolen. Almost every week we have an incident where money gets stolen from a patient, and that's really ruining the reputation of the country. So these are some quick fixes that we need to put in place. And then, to encourage more patients to come to India, we need to attend conferences, put in subsidies or, opportunities for companies like us who are reaching out to different geographies, doing exhibitions, etc., to get a cashback. For example, Turkey gives you 70% cashback for any spend that you do as a medical travel company to acquire customers for Turkey. So similar initiatives could really help and encourage companies like us to go out and really announce to the world that India is ready for healthcare treatments. Some of the policies that have recently come are very good. NABS certification of Ayush hospitals, that's a very, very positive step. That will certainly bring a lot more patients to India. So those are some of the in brief.
So, Danish, you mentioned COVID and things changed during the COVID. Do you think, of course, we faced a setback as a nation and we lost a lot of medical tourism business. But do you think we have been successful in bringing back the medical tourists to the same level?
We have been successful. All the hospitals, our own company, we are doing 2 times more than what we were doing pre-COVID. Most of the hospitals have recovered to 120% of their pre-COVID numbers. So certainly we have got back to the numbers we had pre-COVID. We could have got more, if the visa issues and etc. could solve, because there's a lot of backlog. A lot more patients want to travel.
And what do people travel for? Is it the elective surgeries, etc.? What is the most popular, medical service that we are offering as a nation?
I think pre-COVID orthopedic would have been my answer. Now it's more of cardiac, cancer, IVF, transplants, and neurological disorders that people are coming for. Orthopedic is not so much now in terms of volume. Yes, spine and neuro are still very high on the volumes, but IVF is now picking up very well. And the other, I think we are the best in cardiac and cancer and transplants across Asia.
Lovely. And, one of the issues that comes to my mind, which is an important aspect to healthcare, is the insurance. What is your view on what needs to be done to bring ease to the patients and their family?
That is a very good question. Actually, I would say 96% of the patients coming to India are paying out of pocket. And there is a big opportunity for Indian insurance companies to sell their policies in countries like Bangladesh, Nepal, etc., where the default option for medical treatment is India. Right. So if I'm a citizen of Bangladesh and I've got a policy that I've taken from a Bangladeshi company, which does not cover my treatment in India, I'm really handicapped. I'm not getting exactly what I want. If I could get a policy that covers my treatment in India, so it would then be much more useful for me. So there is opportunity for our insurance companies to partner with companies like HealthTrip, where we can sell their policies to people of these countries, and bring not only forex but also large number of patients coming through those policies.
So Danish, apart from the industry, are there any challenges that you are facing to scale your business because of the environment, and what are you doing about it?
We are actually, a multi-country provider. So, we have patients going to various countries, and therefore our scalability is not limited. We could have scaled faster. We have patients who are, coming back to us and saying, get us a visa for Turkey because it's taking too long in India. Because we work with hospitals there as well, we are able to give that option, but it doesn't feel that good, right? We would love to bring those patients here, and they also want to come here. So those issues are not affecting business, but they are affecting the patient's decision making, slowing that down, etc. As a company, we've grown about 8 times in the last I would say 9 months, and we are scaling well, and big opportunity for us to really make a mark, become the largest global medical travel platform in the world, and so racing towards that.
So Danish, there was a time when people from India, if they had issues like cancer or these kind of things, people would travel to the Western world. And things have changed. Now the quality of not just the skilled manpower, we also now have the best of equipments available to us as a country, and which is why we have become like a preferred destination for healthcare.
Yeah.
But and do you think that we are already organized in this sector, or there is scope to be even more organized to bring scale to this industry in India?
We are highly disorganized, I would say. There are not more than 20-30 companies that are certified to do medical tourism in India. We are a very, very disorganized industry from that perspective compared to other countries. Like, I would again mention Turkey, where you need to be a certified company to be able to do medical tourism, or in Thailand it's similarly. So in our country, anybody could do medical tourism, and that really affects the patient's experience. I think there's a lot we need to do. There's a much more headroom for growth here, and with inflation happening across the world, it will push more people to come to India for medical treatments. People who've been going to Germany, USA, Europe, which are still the larger destinations, those patients will come to India. Countries from war-torn countries and war-affected countries will come to India for treatments, and therefore the scope of growth is really, really high. And if you're able to pull off the right policies and do these small changes, we can really capture this opportunity.
So, Danish, one very interesting thought comes into my mind that, if there are just about 20 or 30 organized players in the country certified, and the opportunity that it sounds like is huge, which are the best companies to get into medical tourism? Who do the best job? Is it a travel company that gets into medical tourism, or is it the healthcare company that gets into medical tourism? Who does a better job? Or somebody like you who comes from neither of the two backgrounds and is thinking out of the box?
Yeah, I think, in any industry, it is people from outside that have really revolutionized the industry. If you look at Flipkart, in the e-commerce space, neither Sachin nor Binny had any retail experience. Vijay had no experience from banking side. So it's the outsiders that are really able to think outside the box and said, why not is this happening, right? So in the medical tourism industry, I think people with a health background have an advantage because they're able to answer the first question that the patient asks is, this is my treatment, where should I go? So the most important task that we do as a company is guide the patient on top doctors for a particular treatment in their budget, and that is the experience on the website, etc. If you look at it, we rank and rate the doctors, we put it in an order, and help the patient find the right surgeon for the treatment that they're looking for, where a health background really helps. But a travel company could be able to scale it much faster. We get a lot of our patients from partners in the travel industry, and therefore that reach would be very helpful.
And what I understand from what I hear, there's a lot of collaboration that is required among players, right? In this world of collaboration, what are some of the collaborations that Health Trip has focused on?
So we are collaborating on the tourism side very heavily. We are partnering with API companies, hotels, travel tourism companies, because that is not a forte, and we are focusing ourselves on the health side. So that is the key collaboration that we are building, where we have travel partners across various geographies that are partnering with us and sending us patients. We are also providing technology to various NGOs, etc., that are sending patients to us. So that is another collaboration. Those are things that we cannot do physically on the ground, but they can do it much better. So wherever we can strengthen our channel partners, we do that, and then wherever they can use our knowledge and our network, they plug into us.
And would you consider yourself to be a platform, or would you consider yourself to be a company which is into hardcore medical tourism, so customer acquisition, etc.? I mean, I've used this term customer acquisition since you come from an e-commerce background.
We are a full stack company, full stack medical tourism company. So from acquiring the customer to getting them the right treatment estimates, teleconsults, at arrival, pick up at the airport, providing them those services. Some of those services are outsourced to the service providers, but we still monitor that and ensure that. So the customer is under our responsibility, and we make sure that the customer is getting the good experience up to the point even delivering medicines to them. We have integrations there as well. So it's a full end-to-end solution that we provide. And now what we are building is post-treatment services for the patient, that so that our relationship with the customer continues to grow beyond the surgery.
So this brings me to a question, Danish, that since you're talking of post-surgery care, this is continuum, healthcare services, and a lot of this involves out-of-hospital care.
Yeah.
Now, do you focus on providing this out-of-hospital care in India, or are you also offering the out-of-hospital care in the home country where they come from?
So we are providing it already in India, where we provide we partnership with guest houses and hospices where patients can stay after the treatment, and we are digitally enabling systems that can now digitally provide continuum of care to patients after they've gone back. So teleconsulting with physiotherapists, dietitians, providing them devices, monitoring their health sort of experiences, enabling them to engage with other patients. Some of the developments that we are doing on the post-surgery side of the patient's journey.
So, Danish, this brings me to my next question, that all of this requires certain standardization of services. Now, when a patient comes to in India, in our country, there are hospitals of various shapes and sizes. How important is the need for standardization, specifically for somebody who's coming from overseas? And so how do you think standardization will help the medical tourism business?
Well, it's extremely important. So, when patients come to India, they prefer JCI certified hospitals. In some exceptions, they also go to large NABH certified hospitals that have, say, 300-400 beds, but have not taken a JCI certification. So they look for quality. So, these people who are coming to India are the top 5 to 10% of that country's population. Right. So it's the rich and the middle class that is coming to India for treatments. And therefore, they are conscious of quality. They're coming to India for quality, and therefore, so they want to see those standardizations. Otherwise, also, the governments and insurance companies that work with us, they also have conditions on, standardization of the hospital. And therefore, those quality accreditations are extremely important.
Got it. So which countries are you focusing on as Health Trip?
India is our primary focus. More than 90% of our business comes from India, and then our focus. We are also building in Thailand, Turkey, UAE. So other geographies are also part of the kitty now, but vast majority of our business comes to India.
And which countries are you focusing on to acquire customers, the patients?
Yeah, so we get most of our patients from Bangladesh, Oman, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Nigeria, and Ethiopia.
Got it. So are there any learnings? So since you're operating in different countries, are there any learnings from countries that are similar to India that can help us take these learnings and increase the medical tourism?
I lot of learnings from Turkey. I was completely surprised by the scale of business there, and I've listed out some of those learnings earlier. And I hope we can replicate that quickly because Turkey is really capturing the market share in all these geographies where, except for Bangladesh, Turkey is now the larger destination than India, and we need to quickly. Our strength is our quality, but if you don't fix the other problems, then patients will go wherever there's convenience. And for heart, neuro, some of these basic treatments, they're sufficiently good quality in other countries as well.
So what are the things other than the visa services that impact medical tourism? I mean, for example, if we see that, if I understand correctly, Turkey has grown multifold, compared to how we have grown. So what are
Yeah,
the other things other than the visa that have impacted?
flight connectivity. So for example, we're not connected to a lot of countries with direct flights, and forex problem. For example, carrying cash is a big problem for patients, and accreditation of medical tourism companies. Because when there are unaccredited medical travel companies, then it leads to bad experience for the patients as well, and ultimately that results in a bad name for the country. So those are the three large factors, and as I mentioned, they also subsidize a lot of the marketing efforts that companies in their country are doing, and that helps those countries build more patient flow to Turkey. So those are the 4-5 things I would say are the key differentiators.
So I have a very sensitive question to ask, Danish. Uh, you know, we are living in a times when the healthcare industry, not just in India but globally, is going through a challenge of trust deficit. And how does the medical tourism industry or the providers from India counter this trust deficit uh, when you're dealing with the international patient?
Actually, that is India's advantage. We are very well known and reputed for the quality of our doctors and the ethics of our doctors. I have seen patients who have come with $50,000 for a treatment, and doctors in India have told them that you don't need to get a treatment, and you can just take medicines. And that has those are things those are happening very often. Of every 3 patients that we get, 1 goes back without a surgical requirement because the doctors say that they don't need a requirement. And mind you, these are people who are coming because the doctors in their country have told them that they require a surgery that is not available in their country, right? So severe cases, people who've been told that they will not survive if they don't go for a surgery. Those patients are coming to India and finding out that they don't need a surgery. They need a medication, and that is building trust, right? When somebody doesn't take your money and tells you a cheaper option, that guy is honest, and that is really building India's trust. And which is why, despite all these difficulties, people are coming to India and are waiting to come to India because the quality here is very good. I have patients who have gone to Turkey, got a bad treatment, and now they are getting a treatment done in India.
So Danish,
nobody beats us in quality.
Right. So Danish, you had mentioned that out of the 6 billion or 5 billion, 1/3 is towards Ayurveda as well. And you also mentioned that now you have NABH certified Ayurveda hospitals. Now, how big is this opportunity, and what are the treatments for which people come to India for Ayurveda?
I think this is a bigger opportunity. I would say this is a multiple fold larger opportunity, and which is why we are now focusing a lot on it. We've got 50 plus centers onboarded with us, and that is because there's say 0.2% of the world requires a surgical treatment, but there's a larger population that requires stress relief, detox, weight loss, more pro health treatments, without being sick, and that is a much larger population that we can capture. I believe India could start, if they really start pushing these treatments and the way the world's thinking has changed after COVID, we could be looking at as many as 10 million tourists coming for these wellness treatments to India. Wow. And with the formation of an Ayush ministry, I think that is a very, very positive step forward. We will see that impact coming in a big way.
I can only imagine how big this opportunity could be. I mean, it is going beyond sick care and hospital management. And
Yeah. And we are well known for being, uh, a divine country, a country where you can find peace. Steve Jobs came here, and for finding peace here, and that is a position that we need to now we can really monetize with these services. And it's already a very large industry. It's just not as organized as the medical industry, and therefore not as well known. Like there are no chains of resorts, right? Like you have Apollo and Fortis and Max. There's no chain with say 30 resorts offering by wellness treatments. That needs to come.
got it, got it. So, Danish, my last question to you before I let you go is, where is Health Trip going? What are the expansion plans? I mean, is it going to be just medical tourism, or is going to be beyond that? Is it going to be? Are you going to be announcing some funding? What can we expect from medical trip, a health trip?
Yeah, so fundraise is something that's always happening. We already are working on the next fundraise. Got a couple of term sheets also in place. But as a company, we are going deeper into medical tourism only. There is still so much to be done here. Even if we are doing 10,000 patients a month, we'll be doing only 1% of the opportunity in the world. So there's much more to be done, and that's where we are heading. We are going deeper, getting more patients to the. We have got about 300 hospitals on board, as well as medical resorts on board. So getting them more business and helping patients find the right solution that they're looking for various treatments. We have patients from India going to Thailand for certain treatments that are not available here. So there's a lot of cross flow also happening within the destination countries, which really surprised us.
So, this is interesting because are you also looking at the medical tourism market from India to overseas? Does that exist?
It does exist. Usually it is India to US, India to maybe Korea, which is large. We haven't gone to those spaces yet, but there are people who are traveling from India to Singapore as well. There are various people who are traveling from India outside for various reasons.
How big is Health Trip? I mean, what are your, if there are any numbers that you want to share?
Well, I can share the growth numbers. We've grown about 9x, as I mentioned, and we should close this year, at about $18 to $20 million in business, and then much, probably double it next year and then onwards. So this we hope to reach $1 billion over the next 5 to 6 years, and the opportunity exists. It is all about executing it.
Lovely. Danish, it has been so nice speaking to you. I mean, it's such a pleasure to see that this space, which is not only getting organized, there is somebody who's looking at building a brand, which is a recognizable brand within the medical tourism industry. And I wish you all the best. And thank you so much for taking our time to speak with us at BW Healthcare World.
My pleasure. And thank you for having me here. Thank you.